Long before factories learned to conjure color from coal, a single family of plants held dominion over the rarest shade in the human world. Blue is uncommon in nature. Few flowers hold it, fewer fruits, and almost no dyes could fix it to cloth. Yet from the leaves of an unremarkable green shrub, people across 3 continents drew a blue so deep it seemed to hold the night sky. They called it indigo, and for thousands of years it was worth more than its weight in almost anything. The plant itself gives no hint of its gift. Indigo tinctoria, the most famous of hundreds of species, grows as a modest bush with small oval leaves and pale pink flowers. Its native range stretched across the tropics of Asia and Africa. In the leaves lies a colorless compound that, on its own, shows no trace of blue. Only through patience, water, and air does the miracle appear. Farmers learned the ritual long before they understood the chemistry. The harvested leaves were cut and packed into vats, then covered with water and left to ferment. As the mixture soured, the hidden compound dissolved into the liquid. Workers then beat the yellow-green water for hours, thrashing it with paddles so that air could work upon it. Under the touch of oxygen, the liquid turned green, then a startling blue, and fine particles of pigment began to settle to the bottom. The sludge was drained, dried, and pressed into hard cakes that could travel the world. Dyeing with it was stranger still. Indigo will not simply soak into fabric. The pigment must first be stripped of its color in an alkaline bath, becoming a pale yellow liquid. Cloth dipped into this vat emerges yellow-green, and then, in the open air, it blushes into blue before the dyer's eyes. Each dipping deepens the shade. The most treasured cloths were plunged and aired again and again, building color layer upon layer. History followed the dye like a shadow. In the Indus Valley, indigo was worked more than 4,000 years ago. Egyptians wrapped their dead in cloth edged with its blue. The very name traces to a Greek word meaning simply a substance from India, for it was India that supplied the ancient Mediterranean. Roman writers marveled at it, and for centuries it arrived overland at tremendous cost, a luxury of kings and temples. When European ships found sea routes to Asia, indigo became one of the great engines of trade and one of its great cruelties. Plantations spread through the Caribbean, the Americas, and later British-ruled India. In the American colonies of South Carolina, indigo grown by enslaved people became a pillar of the economy, second only to rice. The blue in a nobleman's coat and a peasant's work shirt alike was often the product of forced and brutal labor. In India, the trade grew so oppressive that it sparked revolt. Peasants pressed to grow indigo instead of food rose up in the 1850s in what became known as the Blue Rebellion. Decades later, the same grievances drew a young lawyer named Gandhi into his first great campaign of resistance, and the humble dye plant became entangled with the birth of a nation. Then, almost overnight, the empire of the plant collapsed. In the year 1897, German chemists perfected a way to manufacture indigo from coal tar. Synthetic blue was cheaper, purer, and endless. Within a generation, the great plantations withered, and the ancient cakes of natural pigment all but vanished from commerce. The color that had crossed oceans could now be brewed in a factory. Yet the plant did not disappear. That same synthetic molecule still colors the most common garment on Earth, for indigo is the dye of blue jeans worn by billions. And in workshops from Japan to West Africa to Central America, artisans still tend fermenting vats, still beat the water, still lift cloth from the dye to watch it turn blue in the air. What was once the wealth of empires is now a craft kept alive by hand. Indigo endures as a quiet lesson in how a single plant can shape trade, bind continents, and stain the story of humanity in its own particular color. From a green leaf came a blue that clothed the world.